I can tell you, if I had the powers, I would bring our soldiers back yesterday.
If you had the powers.
If I had the powers.
Right.
Because at the moment, I cannot really understand why our soldiers are being killed. 3,000-4,000 kilometers from home. When our own country is burning, our borders are porous. We need the army to assist in ensuring that the sovereignty of South Africa can really be protected.
Oh, Tate Mashaba, the petty heavyweight in Namhlanje. How are you doing? It's great
Fine, how are
having you.
you? To wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'd really like to apologize for taking so long to, at long last, be in your studios.
Yes.
And I was actually, because I know I've had engagement with you before, and now you reminded me it was a virtual one.
Yes,
it was not physical. So that's lovely to really see you in person, that you're not some AI person.
No, it's a great one. It's great seeing you in person. Yeah, and it's a joy and a pleasure having you over in our studio. Siyabulela, Dad. Siyabulela.
Thank you so much.
Right, it's the month of February, and if we go back in history, in 1985, you launched Black Like Me on February, Valentine's Day in 1985.
No, actually, I started, I took over the factory, 200 square meters, BDC in Harangu in January of 1985. But obviously, they took over the factory.
Yes.
That's when we started buying drums and steras and whatever.
Yes.
And the first invoice of Black Like Me was made on the 14th of February.
Oh, the first invoice.
Yes.
Where was the customer?
At the time, I was supplying, in the first few years, we were supplying directly to the salons.
Oh,
on the cash, to the salons. And then obviously you create the demand for the product.
Yes.
And we would actually, our strategy was to attack one area at a time.
Okay.
Once we've covered the salons in that area, and we look for a distributor. Sometimes it would be one of the salon owners who's an entrepreneur. We make it our distributor. We supply products to her, and then she supplies the area we've already. Yeah. Right. So we are not just really there to you manufacture products to put them in the market and there's no demand. No, our approach from day one was to create the demand first, help the clients, so that when we supply you with the products, then there'll be someone picking it up on the shelf. Because that's really one thing I really enjoyed about this business, and why I decided not to be a salesperson for someone else. Because it's a kind of business that I love. I was lucky to get into that business. As I'm talking to you right now, the tills are ringing somewhere. It's a business literally on a 24-hour basis. Whether it's Christmas Day, it's a Sunday, someone is buying my product somewhere.
I have to replenish.
Unlike some of the professions where, let's say you're a doctor, when you close your surgery, your till stops. Whereas the business I've run now over 40 years, the till runs somewhere 24/7, somewhere in the world. Can you believe that once the time when I was still in business, I was in Norway, in Oslo, and
in Norway,
and my wife was looking for a product. We went to some shop where people said, no, there's a small shop somewhere that sells hair care products for black people.
Yes,
we were surprised to find our product in Norway.
In Oslo, Norway.
How it got there. She just wanted something for her hair.
For her hair, that's a good.
So that's the beauty of having a product that sells throughout. That it's not dependent on you. As I've said to you, as a lawyer, if you're sick, your till stops. Whereas when you sell consumer type products like this are sold everywhere, sometimes you don't even know. As I said, you find yourself.
Exactly.
In fact, before even 1990, before the birth of our country, during the dark days of our country, one time I was with one client of mine. in Pretoria.
Yeah.
A white young girl
Yes.
to come in to buy our pre-soft in jail.
Oh my word.
My goodness.
At that time.
Yeah, at that time, to say, my goodness, I mean, I didn't in fact even know that I have white lines. And you can imagine the product was called Black Like Me.
Yes, and it was mostly for the black market.
Because at the time I targeted exclusively black customers. In the meantime, no, I discovered I've got other markets that I never knew existed.
Yeah. So it cross-sells to other races as well.
Yeah, well, just to give you a sense, they let you with some didn't really give me such pride. When I started in a 200 square meter factory with a 30,000 rands loan from Walter Dube. So, and we started with my wife and two partners. So we bought 200-liter drums, the hand stirrers. We're putting stuff in the bottles.
Just manually?
Manually,
at that time.
Within 5 years, in 1990, I'd already built my own factory in Mabopane. Over 6,000 square meters, and I was busy with expansion. And I did not owe anyone a cent in it. I'd already spent over 10 million rands on that factory.
And
I started with 30,000. No. The banks those days, a black guy went to get a loan from a bank. Banks were just there for us to go and deposit money, or they will finance you buying a car. But finance a black for business, financing a black guy for business. I did not even try, because I accepted that as a reality. I did not want to waste my time. So I built from my own resources.
Yeah, and you had to bootstrap it from the customers. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I've also got like a billboard. Your ambassador, Felicia Mabuza.
Oh my goodness!
I've made my choice, perfect choice, black like me. Oh my goodness! Embrace black dignity and beauty. This was great.
And I think,
how did she become your ambassador?
Well, they went just before the elections. Remember, she came back to South Africa. She ran a program on SABC. It was a weekly or daily.
Yes,
I can't remember the name of the program. And then we became friends in the process.
Okay.
And one day I approached her. I said, Felicia, would you mind giving endorsement to this new brand? That's the time when I was launching Perfect Choice.
Oh, okay.
And then, as you can see, Perfect Choice.
Which year was this?
Must be the mid-90s.
Mid-90s, okay.
Yeah, mid-90s. And now, today, we've removed Black Like Me. It's just Perfect Choice.
Oh, just Perfect Choice.
And actually, my daughter, she studied, she's got masters in marketing.
Okay.
She just actually launched another brand of Perfect Choice to go into the stores. It's in all the stores.
So she's also working in the business, your daughter?
Yeah.
That's great.
And created another image of Perfect Choice, taking it to another level.
To another level. Yeah, wow, that's really great, Dati. Let's go into politics and obviously the geopolitical situation that we find ourselves in. Donald Trump has said that in South Africa, white people are treated very badly and there are land seizures, land confiscation. And you can see, the relationship between South Africa and America now has been strained. We might lose some funding. God forbid we don't get sanctioned. But how would you solve this issue diplomatically? Because in the past, you've worked with the Americans in the private sector with Colgate, but obviously now this is like...
No, I have much
What is your
respect,
stance on that?
No, I think in the United States, I have much respect for them.
Yes.
But this particular matter is around... people I would really regard as traitors, people who hate this country, because they are the ones going around the world actually spreading lies and fake news.
Yes.
And it's actually quite disappointing for Donald Trump to buy into fake news and punish South Africa because of fake news. Tell me, you live and I mean, tell me, where did you see this widespread confiscation and white people being unfairly treated, serious human rights abuses, to an extent that I guess President Trump plays. I think we expect him as a president of the most powerful nation on earth. Before you take such action, please investigate facts. You can't work on
hearsay.
On hearsay,
Yeah.
and then you want to punish South Africa, a sovereign state. It is for that reason I'm one of those South Africans really very angry. I'm not angry with Trump in the United States.
Yes.
I'm angry with South Africans who are, as far as I'm concerned, they're traitors, and I feel betrayed also, or failed actually, by President Cyril Ramaphosa for not addressing this matter directly, calling this traitors with the media to provide evidence of this widespread expropriation of land without compensation, human rights abuse of whites. I think, honestly, if we had a decisive leader, a patriot who loves this country, that's what he's supposed to do, so that we can prove to America or anyone else that these people are talking nonsense. Honestly, these are traitors as far as I'm concerned.
And what do you think about organizations within South Africa that are running their own independent foreign program? When they disagree with a specific law, then they would go directly to a government to lobby them.
That it is for that reason I'm saying is they are actual traitors, more especially because these are fake news.
Yes.
Honestly, it's characterization of our country. I don't think it is fair for any South African to go around the world, go and actually tell lies about our country. I regard them as traitors. And AfriForum, for that matter, because they're the ones who've been pushing this. But I suspect there are some political parties within Cyril Ramaphosa's GNU who are also responsible, working with AfriForum on this matter.
Yes. And on the land expropriation bill that was just signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa, that enables state organs to expropriate land for public. It says
public good, public interest,
for varied reasons. But obviously, when you were mayor of Johannesburg, right, you did expropriate some buildings
and land,
abandoned buildings and factories as well for low-cost housing. What law did you follow at that
Section 25 of our Constitution, which allows any fear of government to expropriate land or property where you cannot find the owner, and
Could you trace them?
The ones we retained, actually, as a city of Johannesburg, something I'm proud about is that we retained some of the properties where hijackers, criminal syndicates have taken properties from rightful owners. So we look for them. Some of them, obviously, if we find them, we'll give it back to them. But then we negotiate with them because they'll be owing the city a lot of money for rates and taxes. Because what happens, there's criminal syndicates, when they hijack your property, they actually stop paying rates and taxes. They connect water and electricity illegally. And that, I don't know why the ANC government allowed this to happen for many years. So a lot of these properties, some of them will find the owner, but the owner says, you know what, there's just no way out. I would really pay this rates and taxes because government failed to protect me when this invaders and hijackers started. We reported this to law enforcement agencies and no one said anything. But now I can't pay this. So if you guys want it, you can take it. And that's how we expropriated a lot of properties. And I, by the time I left in 2019, I'm on record that by that time we had already identified 600 properties. 600 properties like that. And by the time I left, we had already awarded 154 of those properties to the private sector to build affordable accommodation.
So
and that investment was going to bring investment in the city of about 32 billion rands.
Yes.
Providing 22,000 permanent jobs during the construction period.
Okay.
Creating 14,000 accommodation. For our people.
Yes,
I mean, it was unthinkable that a municipality can take such an approach. And, and obviously made it a condition that when we give you this piece of land, 30% of the units must be the entry level. 30% of them, the entry level must be at a starting point or at roughly 1,000 rands. Because people
1,000 rand a unit.
A unit.
That's on a monthly. That's on a monthly basis.
Rent, yes. And then you can have market-related increments on an annual rate. But we made it a condition, and the private sector had absolutely no problem with our approach. And that is why I don't understand, what you guys are doing in Cape Town, where you're saying you are running a great governance. When you made the city the most expensive, poor communities are not taken care of, and that's what created problems between the DNI because I was unrelenting regarding this matter of making sure that our poor people must also stay in the city center. Can't tell me an ordinary person can they afford to live in the city center?
No, they won't.
Because obviously the DA took an approach allowing the private sector without putting any conditions. Go to New York today. You want to build a high-rise building. 10% of the units must be for poor people as well who can afford to live in the city center. Whereas my approach it's that as government we need to integrate our communities. When you can afford to buy a penthouse, you need someone to work for you. Must be able to really live in the same building.
Because the group areas act too
you expect
their salary.
I don't understand.
About 60%.
I don't understand why the ANC actually continued with this special planning of the apartheid where black people must go and live 60, 70 kilometers away from job opportunities. Whereas my approach to government, and something we're going to fight until we get it right, any new development must ensure that we integrate society. We cannot really...
So with this new law that is passed, Ndate, what is your stance on it? Do you agree with it?
No, we don't. Look, I think our concern with this law is to avoid ANC corruption. ANC must follow Section 25 of the Constitution.
Yes.
When you expropriate the land, sometimes you might have to expropriate without compensation if the owner is unreasonable. I can give you let me give you a classical case of what happened when I was the mayor. Hardly 6 months into government, in one of the makers, I see there's a report brought to my attention to execute because the previous ANC government had accepted to buy a piece of land for something like, I think it was about 14 million rands.
Okay.
And now they wanted us as Mako to approve it. Then I said, no. or what is this? I said, can we defer this to the next meeting? I need to study this. This doesn't make sense to me. When I investigated, the owner of the property bought this property a few months before wanting to sell to the city.
Oh, few months.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then was wanted to sell it to the city for 14 million rand.
So he bought it for...
And then the ANC government was happy to pay. Luckily, people of Johannesburg removed them from power, and a new sheriff came into office, and this came to my attention. I said, no, I'm not to pay. And the reason why I was refusing, I even refused to pay the 3 million rands. And you know why? Because that the piece of land that they wanted to buy, it was, when this person bought it, it was already hijacked. It was already hijacked. And now tell me, a hijacked property in this country, the laws of this country, they will always tell you that if you remove people from a hijacked building or land, you must find them alternative accommodation. So I said, but guys, I don't understand. This guy bought this land already hijacked for 3 million. And then he wants to sell it to the city
for
14 million rands a few months later. I said, no. As far as I'm concerned, this piece of land is not worth anything. I'm not, as a city, if it must go to council, we must cancel this transaction. We're not proceeding.
Yes.
And had to go to a level where we had to get a senior counsel to go and represent us in the High Court that I'm not honoring, I'm refusing as a new mayor. I'm not honoring this agreement that ANC government and
is proposing
with that. And for the first time, for me to requested senior counsel to request the judge that I present the case first before they can deal with the legalities.
Yes.
I just want to give the facts to the judge. And they were concerned about the precedents I was coming out with. But it was a question of principle. I wanted to demonstrate the seriousness of this matter to the judge. And because eventually they allowed me, and the judge allowed me as a mayor to be the first person to speak as to why I'm not honoring this agreement.
Yes.
You know, I said to the judge, I presented the finances of the city of Johannesburg. At the time, I'd already done the study. The city of Johannesburg had 170 billion rands infrastructure backlog. 170 billion rands infrastructure backlog.
Yeah.
We had over 300,000 people on the waiting list for housing. And should open the books of the city to the judge. I said, Judge, let me tell you something. In a marketplace, let's say a bottle like this.
Yeah.
Who determines the price? Is it you, the manufacturer, or is the market? At the end of the day, the market is the one that determines the price. I used the pen at the time. I had a pen with me. I said, my lord, this pen, so whatever price I can think of, ultimately the market is the one that is going to determine what they are prepared to pay. This piece of land, I'm telling you, my lord, is not worth anything. And the reason why I'm saying this piece of land is not worth anything, because it's already hijacked. The person who bought it for 3 million wants to sell it to the city. I don't understand why the city wanted to buy this piece of land. This piece of land is not worth anything, because for the city, with our limited resources, if I buy this land, I don't have the money to remove these people, go and place them somewhere else. I think right now I want to...
And also the maintenance after buying it, I guess.
Yes. So, and then afterwards, they gave the matter to the legal team. And fortunate enough, the judge agreed with me that that piece of land is not worth anything. So, it is my full right to cancel this this contract, and ended up not paying anything, not buying it. Let the owner actually keep it.
Interesting, Dan. So ActionSA believes vehemently in private ownership.
Oh, God, oh my goodness. You can imagine if someone must come and take ownership of my house. I mean, private ownership, property rights, it's a core, it's a foundation of any successful nation.
Yes.
So we cannot tamper with private ownership of property or land. I mean that is actually it's in our laws, and it's a foundation of any successful nation. However, in the event that someone has got a piece of land and we need massive housing, and the guy who did not even pay for this piece of land, and he's asking ridiculous price, if it is for public good and you can prove it to the courts will give you the permission to expropriate without compensation.
Yeah, because
we as ActionSA, we support that fully. And luckily, I've got 3 years of doing expropriation when I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg.
No, it's really an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Let's go to Eastern DRC, right? Our soldiers, our troops are there in Eastern DRC, supposedly for peacekeeping, but obviously the M23 rebels have taken over Goma, and we've seen quite a whole lot of our soldiers dying there. What is your solution to that? Should we bring back our troops from the DRC?
I can tell you, if I had the powers, I would bring our soldiers back yesterday.
If you had the powers?
If I had the powers.
Right.
Because at the moment, I cannot really understand why our soldiers are being killed 3,000-4,000 kilometers from home. When our own country is burning, our borders are porous. We need the army to assist in ensuring that the sovereignty of South Africa can really be protected.
Yes.
80 people are being murdered every single day in this country. No country in the world, even countries at all, don't see the kind of violence that we're experiencing here. So I cannot understand why our government would give preference in going to support something that even up to today they've not really been clear to us. There are talks doing the rounds that our soldiers are protecting private interest. And if that is the case, and I strongly believe, honestly,
do you think that could be the case though with our politicians?
But tell me, you want to go in,
own some minds there.
But tell me, how do you tell me when your own family is at risk?
Yes.
And then will you go out and your house is burning, and the other, then while your house is burning, the house next door catches fire, and your family is inside the house. What is your responsibility as a person? Are you going to leave your family to burn the house, go and help next door, or you have the responsibility to first help yourself and your family before you can go and worry about the person next door? So that is something that doesn't make sense to me. If you look at it from that logical point of view, South Africa is burning, 80 people being murdered. You know how many women are being, every 11, 12 minutes in this country, a woman is raped. What kind of country is this? We have international drug syndicates. I'm sure, even in your case, I don't know your family. I don't know of anyone in this country who does not have a family member affected by drugs, because international drug syndicates have obviously identified South Africa as their playground. So, I mean, our house is burning.
Yes.
So then why must I go and help others?
So the focus must be here.
Must be South Africa first. Once, yes, I've got stability, I've saved my family, absolutely, I'll go and help the family next door. But no normal human being will act in a manner in which our current government is reacting to issues.
But don't you think we should strengthen our relationship with African countries, since now we're going to be facing a bit of sanctions with America, and find alternative markets in Africa? Because it's also within our interest. If the DRC is safe, then more development can happen there. But don't you think surrounding
our house
having
is
this hostile
and right now the hostility with the United States is based on fake news and lies and deceit and traitors. The president must go and deal with this matter with the United States, because go and prove to the United States that these people are talking nonsense. And you know how you do it easily. It does not have to fly to the United States. Call all this in what do you call this group?
The AfriForum.
Call AfriForum and call the media. Let them give us proof of what they mean.
What they mean.
So that that's where you start.
Yes,
because as far as I'm aware, and every South African is aware, we don't have mass expropriation of land.
No,
we don't see any human rights of white people where. You know, so I mean that's where you start, so that these people, these traitors, can be exposed for who they are. That we cannot really allow them to really go out and actually cause unnecessary harm. It would really be unfortunate for us to strain our relationships with America or any other country for that matter. I don't really, South Africa should not really be a country that goes around bullying anyone. We cannot really be bullied. But at the same time, we must not go out and bully other people. And I think that's important. Yes, on a long-term basis, South Africa must try and we must work towards our own independence financially and otherwise. We see it with massive resources, opportunities, which most countries in the world do not really have. But this particular case, I'd personally take serious exception to it because it is actually, these are traitors in our country. But unfortunately, Cyril Ramaphosa being who he is here now.
It's an interesting one, and let's go into your political party. You've just had a merger with Forum
for Service Delivery.
Forum for Service Delivery, and I see you also looking for other like-minded parties to partner with going into the local elections in 2026. Are we going to see parties like BOSA and Rise Mzansi maybe joining as a united force? What is the idea behind the
for us as ActionSA, I think when this opportunity with Forum for Service Delivery was presented to me, presented to my colleagues in Senate, it's actually a God-given opportunity. You can imagine overnight without going to elections. ActionSA is represented in 22 additional municipalities by 34 councillors.
They had already 22
in 5 provinces. Remember after when we contested in 2024. 2021. We only contested 6 municipalities, 3 in KZN and 3 in Gauteng. Today, as I speak to you, ActionSA, it's represented in 7 provinces out of the 9. The only place where we don't have representation, it's here in the Western Cape and Eastern Cape.
Okay.
But watch the space, because ever since we made this announcement with Dr. Kekana to bring Forum for Service Delivery under the ActionSA green umbrella, I can tell you, don't be surprised in a week or so's time announcing other like-minded, because we're right in the middle of negotiations with other parties. Others have already obviously confirmed. We must just do the necessary agreements, get our Senate to approve, and we announce. And there are lots of these parties at local government level. from 2026, 2021, a lot of municipalities are represented by parties with 2, 3, sometimes one councillor.
Yes.
So you can imagine the opportunities there, because these political parties have come to realize that just really remaining small, they're not going to get anywhere. And they believe in our country, and they know that ANC is messing up. And they've identified ActionSA to really be the umbrella to shield all of them.
Yes.
So watch the space. I can tell you.
In business, it would be like you're acquiring them, an acquisition to scale.
So you can imagine. I mean, we're now represented in 22 municipalities without going to elections as yet. And as I said, you will see. The dead show before the end of this month, another week or two, if the Senate approves, because I've already got 2 or 3 other parties like this with 5, 6 councillors. Wait for it. Let's allow us to sign the necessary agreements, and then we'll announce. It's a public institution, and we don't really run things in dark rooms or smoke-filled rooms. No, we obviously, while we're still negotiating, until obviously a deal is signed, I think it's only decent to announce the right thing. So, but one thing I can tell you, yes, we are on a acquisition
drive to scale.
And it's really exciting. I'm really excited about this.
So Dr. Kekana, his role is deputy president. So what does his role entail?
It's interesting that our interim constitution, because we are only a 4-year-old party, we did not really have in our constitution a position of a deputy president. What Dr. Kekana is bringing to our political party is something that we do not have. This guy, I mean, he is the founder of this Forum for Service Delivery in 2016, literally with nothing, just the determination to save South Africa.
So they had no funds.
And that's why we then recommended the Senate to say, look, let's create a position of a deputy president. A big percentage of his role is going to be setting up branches and launching branches, drive membership, because he's an expert. He's done it. His case is not a pie in the sky. It's someone who's really done it without resources. Now being under the ActionSA umbrella, you can imagine. Then that takes away the responsibilities of branches and driving the growth of the party. So those responsibilities are taken over by him, and I'm obviously playing another role as the leader of the party. And so it's really very exciting.
How has it been in Parliament opposing the government of national unity? You're a team of 6, right?
I think we are not in opposition for the sake of opposition. I think what it informed our decision not to be part of the GNU, because as you are aware, with now 70% of this bloc belong to the ANC. So DA is now part of the ANC. Did you see yesterday during the State of the Nation?
Classic.
Everything. Things that 8 months ago they were completely
and they were in the multi-party chat.
It's very, very scary. So this actually proves to you what we said. We are going to be a constructive opposition. Where we agree with government, we will agree with them. But where they do things that are against our constitution and they abdicate their responsibility to serve people of South Africa, our 6 members of parliament, it's proven. Are you aware in the 7 months of the Super 6, but they're acting like they're 60. They've submitted more reports and questions, same as MK.
Wow. Same as the official opposition.
So basically, in terms of real opposition in Parliament, a constructive one is ActionSA. That's why the South Africans have come to respect us. That, my goodness, how the 6 guys are doing. In fact, even for me, honestly, they've exceeded my expectations. I remember when they gave them this assignment. We said, guys, please go. You 6 of you. But go in box like you're 60.
You're 60.
My goodness. I can tell you, I don't have to tell you. I mean, which political party is more active in exposing the rot that's happening in our government?
But why didn't you join maybe the Progressive Caucus or
regressive caucus?
Regressive Caucus and the Progressive Caucus? Because I think
they call themselves
like an island there in Parliament. But the government of national unity.
This Progressive Caucus opposes everything. Even when government or Parliament passes good legislation, they just oppose for the sake of opposing. So it is for that reason we call them regressive caucus. So I think, and we requested them to leave us alone. Let them really deal with issues on their own. We will deal where we agree with them, and without any doubt. Where sometimes we vote against a particular item, and they also vote. Absolutely, we will work with them to support. But we are not just going to oppose everything that
for the sake
of opposing. Yeah.
If the GNU falls, would you be prepared to join the government if the DA leaves the government of national unity? Because it's also a good campaigning strategy. Most people voted for ActionSA because you were mayor of Johannesburg. So it's very difficult sometimes campaigning from outside. So would you be ready to take over once the DA?
I think,
because you can see the cracks at the moment.
It's an academic debate, and I'm not an academic person. I'm a pragmatic person. I think we will deal with each case on its merit. So I think let's not really debate something that is academic. Let's leave it to the professors at the university or analysts, because there are no consequences for their predictions. So I was not trained to be an analyst or a professor.
Yes, you're an entrepreneur.
I'm a pragmatic person, so I will deal with matters on a case-by-case basis. Remember recently what we did in Tshwane, where we removed the DA.
The DA, wow.
And we had committed not to work with the ANC. But we're a pragmatic political party. When it is necessary for us to act in the interest of our country, in the interest of our country, that's exactly what we'll do. Because when we discovered DA trying to work with the ANC to remove us from Tshwane, and this matter came to our attention, we decided to apply the purge first.
Yes.
We said, no, we are not going to wait for Helen Ziller and the DA.
Did they tell you bluntly, or you heard from
No, I got it from reliable sources, and decided to hit back, hit first. And we removed them, and we're proud of that decision that we took. People of Tshwane today are getting services, all residents.
Yes, I saw even in Hammanskraal on the water.
The Haranku Atteridgeville. Yesterday I was with the Treasurer General of the ANC, Dr. Ramokgopa. She sat next to her in Parliament. She was telling me she's from Atteridgeville. Says, Herman, congratulations what you guys are doing. He says, the last few years I used to hate going home because of the filth and whatever. He says, my Atteridgeville is going back to the Atteridgeville because it's a clean place and so forth. And I know myself, my family is in Hammanskraal, family in Mamelodi, I've got family in all these townships.
Yes.
In Garankuwa. Since 2016 when DA took over, these townships For some reason, the DA said, no, let's treat them like we treat in Guguletu and Kaelicha. They are not our core base. If they vote for us, let them vote for us. But services, it's not for them. Go to Amanskral, go to Harankwa. Today, as I'm talking to you right now, there's a youth cleaning campaign led by the mayor in Harankwa.
And she's also picking up the
not just cleaning, making sure the street lights are working. The dealing with road infrastructure, patching of potholes and so forth. People of honestly, go and talk to, if you've got family or friends in the townships in people are shocked because since 2016 when DA took over, they never thought
neglected.
Completely neglected. Now they are wondering what the hell is going on. Wow. And I'm really very proud because it's not only the Karankwa that is taken care of. We're taking care of Waterkloof. We're taking care of Sunnyside. We're taking care of everyone on the basis of the funds available to us. We're not saying we will only provide services to those who voted for us. No. We provide services to all the residents, and that's something that the DA. You remember why? You remember why?
You were part of
when I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg.
Yes.
You know, I don't know if you listened to my press conference. If not, you can go into resigning. I said the DA did not want the DA, the group of DA people led by Helen Ziller had problems with me providing services, including toilets to poor communities the ANC government had ignored for many years. Then there's some of these DA people led by Helen Ziller said, no, the people of Senten where I live, they must go and cut grass.
So the preference was for the lofty areas and the disparities.
And they expected me to be part of this, and I said, it's not going to happen. So that's really, and I made it clear to them. I said, if Helen Ziller comes back, I'm not going to work with people like this. This is someone... when I was a businessman and fighting politics, I thought she was committed to all South Africans.
Did she recruit you to the DA?
No. My money played a key role, but Helen has also made advances to me as well. Mike Moriarty, John Moody, it's not just one person.
Yes.
Convinced me. And I believe them, including actually leaving my business, to giving the responsibility to my wife to look after our family affairs, because I decided I'm not leaving this country. I love this country. This country has been good to me. And only to discover, no, my goodness, I made a mistake. I remember actually my nephews, when I decided to join politics, join DA for that matter, some of them with educated ones with university degrees, lawyers and so forth. It says, Uncle,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? Why are you joining this racist party? I said, no, you guys are crazy. I said, why did you say they're crazy? It says, no, time will tell. 3 years later, I can tell you.
And you saw it.
I've got a lived experience. I'm not talking a theory here.
But then when you then Kenguku ActionSA, then you also joined their coalition. Do you think that was also a grave mistake, joining the multi-party charter? Because I was totally against it when you did it.
Because you see, what happened is...
you just resigned, and then you started your own party, then you went back into alliance with them. I was like, what is happening
because
now?
Obviously we did not get outright majority. It was whether we must go into coalition with the ANC or DA. At the time we thought DA it's a better devil. And we discovered in the process that I think it was a mistake, but I think honestly we did not have an option. It's not something that I regret. But the only thing that I think it's actually true. Like you say, you're not happy. A lot of black people were not happy with us. That's why they punished us in 2024. Because they then said to Herman, I'm telling you, we did not vote for you because we did not want you to give our votes to the DA, to the racist DA. So it was a mistake we made, and we've got to admit. Like another mistake I made was to undermine Jacob Zuma's MK.
Yeah, sure.
When people, my goodness, when MK was launched in December 2023, I said no, there's no way any normal person would vote for Jacob Zuma.
Yeah, at that time we thought, and then he came with
he just came in, and we lost a lot of our votes because of our association with the DA. So it's important right now we've learned. And you know what? We human beings are fallible. And what I think I always believe, if I've made a mistake, I will apologize. And but where I stand for principle, like removing, say, Ria Brink from Tshwane, it's a decision that I was determined to make it happen. And fortunately, because I think you double cross me. You do it once and you do it the second time. Don't expect any mercy from Herman Mashaba.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. But how has the learning curves been in the political space? Because obviously in business, there's quite a whole lot of failures that happen in business as well, and then you lose money or you lose the deal. But obviously now in politics,
it's a very complex. Just under 40 years of being in business. I thought I was a hardworking young man because I started business at the age of 22 under apartheid, ducking and diving from the police, my movements restricted and so forth. I used to, in the beginning, do plus minus 10,000 kilometers a month.
A month?
A month.
Yeah.
So we used to do a lot of traveling and so forth. And
with products as well?
Yeah, well, from the bood of my car.
The samples.
No, sometimes delivering, a few months into the business, the three of us partners, we bought 1 ton bakkies.
Oh, 1 ton bakkies.
Because we started with our own cars. I had a Toyota Corolla. So obviously with the business growing and making money, a few months down the line, we bought 1 ton bakkies. Because as I said to you, we used to deliver products ourselves, collect the money cash. We were not selling on credit in the beginning.
It was just a cash basis. At first.
I give you your shampoo, you give me my 2 rands.
Even the agents as well, they buy stock.
Even agents, they had to buy on cash. Actually, the first...
How much was the commission percentage that was the agents?
The agents, 30%. I was giving them 30%. I was giving them 30%.
Sure, that's...
it was...
that's good money.
No, it was good money. But then obviously, they had to, I deliver stock to them, and they've got to deliver stock to salons in their area. So they had to make money. So that's why we were so successful. Sure. I can tell you from the 14th of February when we started now selling, we had products to sell. Until someone burned down my factory on the 17th of November 93. I was working, I had a very interesting problem where all the time I had to restrict who we supply, because we always, we had the demand for our products.
Full every time.
No, not more than full all the time. I had to restrict, to ration who we, That's why, you can imagine I had to be on the road. Sure. I had to plan expansion of the factory. I needed to hire people.
And Mamukoni, she was the bookkeeper.
She was working for Southern Sons as a junior bookkeeper. She was working for She was actually a junior bookkeeper in Sol Kesner's office.
Oh, in Sol Kesner's office. Yeah, Southern Sons.
Southern Sons. So I had to recruit her to come and join us, because with us, Joseph and I, salespeople, and Johan had to go and buy products. You can imagine our chemicals.
Yes.
We had to buy them mostly. The factories were in Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg.
And obviously we were in an unknown entity. So we had to buy on cash.
Oh,
Even our chemicals, even our suppliers in the beginning, and they were not delivering. Johan had to sometimes go to Joburg 2-3 times a day, you know. But obviously with the growth, they accepted us, and they'll give us stock on credit because we're, when you had different suppliers,
and you buy from 30 days at first. The credit.
In fact, the 30 days, the beauty about it is we pay you 30 days from statement. So let's say if you deliver now, I will only pay you end of March.
Oh, end of March.
But that's how the system worked. Even with our customers, we used to give them, when we started obviously getting bigger, started supplying big clients like the cliques of the world. And the beauty about us is that the listing with all the majors, I handled that myself. And I wasn't the one going to the cliques or ShopRite checkers. They're the ones who called us.
Okay, so the white persons used to come and...
No, they called us because the people were going in asking for the products, and they could see.
So the demand was massive.
I used to be in Cape Town at least once a month. I used to do Clicks account. I was handling it myself.
And they just
they had Clicks and Discom. You remember they had Discom stores and ShopRite checkers. So that's how things develop. It was exciting days. But now I'm in politics. It's a totally different ball game because you work to a large extent with volunteers, and it's easy for people to really come and join your party for own reasons. Some of them are just really sending to come and destabilize. So it's something that honestly you cannot really control.
You can't control.
Someone comes in that becomes a member of ActionSA, started becoming very active. You say, hey, this guy, it's a great guy.
Yes.
In the meantime, no. You were sent in to come and destabilize. So whereas in business,
you even have agents that just
it's a difficult space, but it's a fight worth fighting because it's about the country. It's not really about us. That's why I think politics, you need strong leadership. Really much stronger than in business, And unfortunately, the South Africa. We've really I mean, since Nelson Mandela, I cannot really see our country being run by someone actually strong. Nelson Mandela helped us cross the River Jordan.
Yes.
He played that really very crucial role to ensure that we don't go into a civil war. But since his departure, the things we got one bad president after the other. I mean, you can imagine. We thought Jacob Zuma was bad. I mean,
look what's happening.
Look at. Honestly, right now, without any doubt, if you look at still Ramaphosa and Jacob Zuma, I'm sure the majority of the people will go for Jacob Zuma anytime. If those are the only two choices you have.
Were you inspired yesterday by the state of the nation? What could you pick up on that? That was really devastating from an opposition side.
Well, here's the president with a deer clapping when he says, with a population of 60 million plus people, he's celebrating that 28 million people are on social grants.
Sure.
And people, the ANC and DA, they're clapping. I mean, you're clapping failure because when almost half of your population survival is dependent on government grants, I mean, it's a disaster. When you sit in a country with 12 million people unemployed, unemployed. The highest sustainable unemployment rate in the world. You've got to be ashamed of yourself as government that you failed. In the same, on the other hand, you've got factories in Babylon, in Namaskral, where I was born, in Harango industrial area where I started Black Like Me. Kwandebele, former Transkei. You used to have factories. You know, when I grew up, people who did not work were those who did not want to work. Because I think there was a lot of exploitation. People had no labor rights and so forth. So there was a lot of exploitation. So some people decided, no, I'm not going to be exploited. I'd rather hustle on my own.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the apartheid government would arrest us for not working.
For not working.
That's why, you know, one thing that I learned when I decided to go into business, because obviously I would be arrested for what they used to call lawfroskap. You know what lawfroskap is?
What is lawfroskap?
Lawfroskap is those who do not work.
Okay.
So they'll come into the townships or villages during the day, arrest any man who was not at work. Because you had to carry our IDs, your pass. And you had to carry 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
More especially in the suburbs, in places like Johannesburg or here in Cape Town. As a black person, you had to have the permission, even if you have your reference book.
Yes.
It obviously restricts you to be here in the Western Cape. You can't be in Johannesburg. You'll be arrested for being in Johannesburg. That's a kind of history I come from. And I find it really very weird lately when that people are saying, no, we must not talk about this history.
A group
I don't understand the logic why we... if they feel guilty about their past, they must not make that my problem. They says no. They call me. They says I'm a slave of the past. I've got a slave mentality. I said, oh goodness, these guys they can go and play those games with someone else, not with Herman Mashaba. Herman Mashaba is a free man. I was born 26th of August 1959 during HF route.
At that time.
I was a free man from the day I was born, and I'm going to die a free man and with a free mind. And the issue of the history of our country, our children deserve to know what happened, so that it must not emerge again. Because if you look at what's happening today, if we're not really careful, apartheid will come back, but in another form. In another form. Where I'm concerned, it's about this narrative where, because of ANC failures, now all of a sudden all black people cannot be trusted. They are corrupt.
Yes. Because of the ANC's failures. Now we're all being
so that's
thrown under one.
You can't trust a black man. I take serious exception to such a narrative.
Yeah.
That is why it's important, where I always tell them, and I want them to know, even your listeners, let them know the history of this country is going to be taught in our schools. We're going to discuss it openly so that we can build racial harmony. We're not going to build racial harmony by putting our heads in the sand and being told that we cannot talk about our history. My recent history. I'm not talking about someone's lived experience. I'm talking about mine, and I'm going to talk about it, and no one is going to stop me from discussing it.
So
if they feel guilty about what they did and their forefathers, it's not my problem.
Yeah, because it sometimes it becomes contentious, but I agree with you. We need to openly speak about it. We need to fully debate about it. Because, it's an interesting one. Let's look at Nzayithetha ngesixhosa Busando uba seMpumalanga and Lily Mine abasebenzi batshona phaa. I think it's been about 9 years now.
Yes, on the 5th of February 2016.
Yes.
Priti Nkambule, Yvonne Nisi and Solomon Nyirende law-abiding, hardworking South Africans left their families going to work. And within an hour after working, unfortunately for her, because of reckless mining, the container went down with them. 9 years later, on Wednesday, we are at Lily Mine commemorating this day because what is unfortunate about this particular case is the fact that our government and mine management lied to us South Africans that that container cannot be retrieved. And that's all what we were all told until in 2020 when the family, I don't know how they got hold of me. It was the time when we were running a project. We were running a project called the People's Dialogue.
Oh, People's Dialogue. Before you started.
Yeah, the party, yeah. So, I see this person keeps on contacting me. Eventually, I took the call. It was Harry Mazibuko telling me he's a spokesperson for the family of the Lily Mine.
Yes.
And he says that it gave me a brief background of what's happening and what they tried to do, how they've been harassed by the police, getting no support whatsoever from the government, telling me that that container can be retrieved. It is a lie what our government has told us. And then I said, okay, Harry, I'll look at my diary, I'll let you know. Yeah, I think it must have been on a Thursday or so. And then the following Tuesday, I drove all the way to Barberton. I didn't even realize the distance because we drove in and out. It's a 4-hour drive from Joburg.
From Johannesburg.
Yeah, so I got there and the family under the tree put up tents, living in tents. And the related gave me the background of what transpired. I then picked up something that didn't actually make sense about this announcement by the government and mine management that the container cannot be retrieved. Sure. And I asked the family to say, and some of the mine guys who were working in the mine, I said, when this government made the announcement that this container cannot be retrieved, did they have any mining engineers that provided the evidence that that container cannot be retrieved? Says no. But at the same time, they showed me the Zamazamas who were working there.
Illegal.
Already.
Okay, Amazamas.
And Mazamazamas and no one doing anything about it. And the family and some of the people who used to work for the mine, because they knew that it's possible to get that container, they were going to get it out, but they were prevented. So I then said, no, man, something doesn't make sense to me. So I said, look, the only thing I can do is to get you legal intervention. Then got the services of one of the top lawyers in Johannesburg, and I said, please focus on the government and the mine management to give us evidence of what informed their decision.
Okay.
Why this container cannot be retrieved. And to my surprise, only to discover after many court battles, up to today we've spent over 4 million rands in legal cost. But we discovered that it was a lie. We were lied to as a country. These guys had no scientific basis. They just decided they wanted the family to forget about that container and forget about those 3 lives.
Sure.
They tried every trick in the book, including getting the police to chase them from side, getting criminal elements bend down their structures. But they were determined, and I decided I'm going to help you. And that's really what I'm doing. And right now, actually, on Monday morning, our legal team, led by the senior counsel, we're submitting our papers in the High Court.
In the High Court.
Where we are now saying, please give us the permission give us access to this mine,
Yes.
we'll get our own mine rescue practitioners
to take the container out.
Take the container out. They've been refusing. I tried them last year without we said at no cost to you. We will go and raise to you. We just want you to give us access because the mine is closed. They've got serious security they're paying. But they're allowing
why did they close the road that when you were going there? Well, I just saw pictures of that.
That's something that we find it difficult to explain even up to today. And you can look at the manner in which that road was closed. I mean, some serious machinery must have been used to close the road. Yeah. Why? Because I think there are forces out there that don't want the container out. They want the family to forget about and move back up to their homes. Sure. Are you aware these families have been camping there for the last 6 years?
For the last 6 years?
Yeah. One of the ladies' the daughter was only 5 months old when
that thing happened.
Yes, it is one of the most human rights abuse that I hope if Donald Trump wanted to punish South Africa was the case of human rights violation.
Yes.
And also I question the role of this Black Lives Matter, because I challenge them on...
Oh, you go to them as well?
Yeah. Yes. When someone get killed in the United States or other parts of the world. And I said to guys, here's 3 black people.
Yeah.
Priti Nkambule, Von Munisi, and Solomon Yarende. They're as black as I am. And we're claiming to say Black Lives Matter. I hope and I trust that they also qualify to get the support.
Sure.
Unfortunately, including the Human Rights Commission. We invited them to the event.
When you were going
when we were there. They did not even acknowledge our letter. But they were fighting for illegal undocumented foreigners, Zamazamas in Stelfontein.
But that with the illegal foreigners, right? And also this goes back to our lineage as well. Like, for example, not but I'm actually Sotho because my great-grandfather came from Lesotho. But if I trace back your lineage, right, it goes back, to even present-day Mozambique.
Well, that's what my great-grandfather...
Botswana, the president, is also closer.
That's what my great-grandfather... My grandfather was born in a farm next to Harangua. That's before Harangua was built. And he said his father came to South Africa when he was 17. So my grandfather was born in a farm, and then got married to my grandmother who lived in Amaskal and came to live there. And my father, but he claims, obviously we don't have evidence of that because my great-grandfather is also buried in Harangua.
Oh, he's also buried.
So basically, I can trace and show you graves of my great-grandfather,
your great-grandfather,
my grandfather, my father. So obviously, what I don't have is I'm the 4th generation.
Oh, the 4th generation.
I'm the 4th generation.
I see.
Whether the other generation before me, is it true what my grandfather was telling me that his father came from Mozambique?
Because that even your surname Mashaba, right? It's a Shangan surname.
It's a Shangan.
And from the Nguni side.
Absolutely.
And Usoshangana, he left and he went up to Mozambique.
And
Gaza.
Well, basically, from the little history that we have is that obviously I think we originally from KZN. And now with their fights, before the whites came in with the Shaka and whatever.
Yes.
some people ran up to Mozambique, and others went to Rhodesia at the time, and so forth. And some came here in South Africa. So it's a very complex history. But one thing, if ever I'm anything, I'm a fourth generation South African.
A fourth generation.
And with evidence. It's not
but there were no borders at that time. It was like tribes.
Yes. Well, yes, but but that does not mean that we cannot have borders.
Yes.
Because obviously right now we're a sovereign country with a constitution, with our borders. Whether they were designed by the British or not, we've got borders. If we feel we don't want the borders, then let's negotiate. I mean, countries like Lesotho, for me, the Swaziland, it doesn't make sense. Why should really these countries be independent? Why can't we form? And also we're the only country being called as part of geography, South Africa. I mean, honestly, one of the things that I believe our negotiators in 1994, when they were negotiating this new dispensation, we needed a new name for our country. We grew up during the dark days of our country. I remember at the school, at university, we've always known this country to be Azania.
Azania. Oh, yeah.
Why our negotiators actually gave too much, unfortunately. That's why we keep on having this kind of problems. You see other countries, they've that's why when you
like Zambia was more than Rhodesia, and then they changed.
South Africa, we still left with South Africa. Honestly, I think this country is Azania, according to our forefathers, and some historians. Why we failed to change this name? That's why we have these traitors who are now abusing our kindness. They take that to really be a weakness,
With what what Donald Trump is doing, sending illegal foreigners home, would you do it like that?
Well,
deporting.
I expected yesterday. I was one of my disappointments. One of my disappointment with the president's speech yesterday, because with all the nonsense we've gone through with undocumented foreigners, I would have expected the president to assure South Africans that within the next 30 days, he's putting together teams for mass deportation of undocumented people.
In the country, right?
In the country, send them back to their countries. So it's actually one of my disappointment, because I can tell you, if I've got the powers, within 30 days of taking over power, I signed executive powers to put special law enforcement agencies that must ensure that anyone who's in our country without papers must be sent back to that country.
And you would, it's an interesting one.
It's interesting. It's the right thing to do, because you can't. You can't allow other countries to bring their own problems to us. We've got our own problems. 12 million people unemployed, 28 million, the president himself.
Are in social welfare.
Now, yes, are on social welfare. Now, how do you expect South Africa now to be a welfare for people from Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, China, Nigeria? No. Let these people go back to their countries. We want people of the world to come here, but they must come here legally and come and to be on holiday or come and invest. Minimum of 5 million rands investment for you to be accepted.
To be accepted.
where you come and visit, give you whatever period you want to visit.
Yes.
But when it's time for you to go back home, you must go back home, like all the other countries.
Yes.
I don't know, for some reason, why people want to test illegality.
Yeah,
in South Africa.
It's a playground for
you.
you.
No, I don't know.
Fake
Why do
products
why do you want to try this illegality? We want to legalize illegality. And in South Africa must be a test case. No, I'm afraid I will never apologize to anyone about it.
Yes. No, I get that. I get. So what do you say? Should we invest more in border control? Because the president was saying that, state-owned enterprises are working fine.
Wait, which ones are working? I heard you talking about trains.
Trains and Transnet is working.
I mean, a few years ago, you were talking about bullet trains, smart cities. I don't know, yesterday probably they forgot to include that because obviously he makes promises after promises and celebrate the achievements. And I don't know what is there to really celebrate. In fact, as a country, we should really be ashamed of our government's failure.
Yes. That last but not least, who would you say, like, for example, when you were in business, you knew exactly who your market was, you knew the product, but who would you say ActionSA is for in this country? Where's the traction, like, from the voters? Where can you see it? Because with I can even see, like, with the billboard, it says, "I've made my choice, perfect choice." You guys knew where to market. You knew the exact market. So with ActionSA, who do you think it's for?
Look, the thing is, in politics, you look at the people who subscribe to your values.
Okay.
There might be women, black, white, Indian, whatever.
Yes.
I think anyone who believes in property rights, anyone who believes in human rights, culture, individual human rights. You believe in the rule of law. You believe in social justice. You believe in non-racialism. I think those are the people that we want to attract by offering our values of non-racial society, people who believe in social justice. When we have people being made out by criminal elements, there must be consequences. We must believe in addressing this issue of inequality. We are the most unequal society on earth. People who believe that we need redress in this country.
Yes.
We can't leave it to God or go to church. No, we need government programs to ensure that we deal with inequality. We must actually, as I said, believe in property rights, believe in human rights, believe in the rule of law. So these are things, values that it's up to people whether they believe in us, because some obviously believe that South Africa should not have borders. We are saying no. Please don't come and talk to us about that. But some people believe with state control of our lives. The state must run everything, including running bakeries and the construction companies. No, we believe in free market economy where the private sector must play a role. So those are the people we are targeting, and we believe majority of South Africans believe in such values. And yes, we're a new political party, but over time, people will get to really know about it, us, because we're not going anywhere. That is why we were talking earlier on about this green ActionSA umbrella. With more and more political parties joining us so that we can remove the sun-carrying government.
Yes. Thank you very much. It was a great joy having you. Always a great joy speaking to you. And looking forward to this year, but all the best on your political programs this year. We're going to be watching ActionSA.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity. And our members of parliament, all 6 of them are available from time to time.
Yes.
You can call them if there's any debate and you want clarity on what's happening in parliament, they are available to come and talk to you.
Thank you very much. Diyabulela Ntate. Viva Herman Mashaba, viva. Viva.